I'm happy to finally be in cereal land because I live there a lot of the time, but like not on camera yet, So this is good to finally make my debut. I just mean I like cereal. I don't know. I was like trying to come off the dome with like a fun like thing, and then I was like, this just sounds weird.
It's like, are you a part-time resident of Cereal Land?
I'm like I have squatters' rights. Like fair. If you just like break in and live there for 90 days, they like can't kick you out. So I've been chilling.
These are the laws of the land when it comes to cereal. So. And welcome back to Let's Get Cereal, the weekly show where I, your host, Melissa Marino, eat cereal, talk about stuff, and sometimes talk to people. We've got a great people today. You've seen him on New Japan Strong, West Coast Pro, Josh Barnett's Bloodsport Championship Wrestling, and more. It's the Fringe Father, the Tassel Daddy, and my dear friend, Royce Isaacs. How are you, my friend?
Hey, it's so good to see you. It's been too long, but yeah, I'm happy to finally be in cereal land because I live there a lot of the time, but like not on camera yet, So this is good to finally make my debut. I just mean I like cereal. I don't know. I was like trying to come off the dome with like a fun like thing, and then I was like, this just sounds weird.
It's like, are you a part-time resident of Cereal Land?
I'm like I have squatters' rights. Like fair. If you just like break in and live there for 90 days, they like can't kick you out. So I've been chilling.
These are the laws of the land when it comes to cereal. So,
yeah.
Thank you so much for making the time to be on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm not doing bad. I'm good. I had a good like leg day, squat day, and then it was one of those things where I was like, I'll get up super early, like I'll smash this, I'll do that, I'll have time to eat lunch, all this stuff, and then I was scrambling to find my headphones like right before we got on. But no, I can't complain. I'm good. The little floofy dog is right here. She's good. Yeah, life's good.
Life is good. And life is good when you have a bowl of cereal to share with a friend. Now, this episode came about because you said that you have a hot cereal take that you wanted to come on the show and share. So, let our friends at home hear it.
All right. So this is the product of hours and hours of research. I'm very scientific. I care about my methodology. Like, I'm not just going to go out there and just say something, no spews for views. This is like a real serious matter that people need to know about. But Frosted Mini Wheats, like the actual, like the name brand that like is kind of trash, like low key comparatively. Now, all my Frosted Mini Wheat fans, don't get on me yet. Just hear me out. The Kroger brands and the Target brands are both like blow them out of the water by a lot. Like if you try either one of those, everyone's always like, oh, mom got me like the cereal that's like not name brand, and it's just like the toucans got like 2 left feet and it's weird or whatever. But I'm serious. This is actually, it's so much better. It absorbs so much more milk. It has more of the actual like texturizedness to it. Like Frosted Mini Wheats, I'm sure there was like a time, like a golden era of Mini Wheats where like they were actual, like not so like made in a factory where they're all the same size, but now they're all the same size. They don't let in any milk or moisture, and they're not really that well frosted, I don't think. I don't know what it is about the like non-name brand ones, but they like blow it out of the water. Like I can't eat Frosted Mini Wheats anymore. It's like it's been ruined for me. However, I do have my market pantry frosted shredded wheat.
And I'm going to be joining you, my friend, on this this adventure. So let's dig in.
Yeah, shall we? Oh, the other thing, if you do, they don't have this for market pantry, but if you go to like the Kroger brand, they usually have a strawberry, which is actually it's even better. Like it's real bomb. So.
Literally sweetening the deal. Okay.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah.
I like how scientifically you approached this. You had a very strong thesis.
Yeah.
And now we have some evidence to back it up. There is I'm gonna give influencer hand here. There is a great amount of frosting on this.
Yes.
My word, I'm impressed.
And you can see, like, if you get up close. Oh, wait, hold on, where's my camera? Oh, here we go.
There you go.
It's like texturized more. Like you could, like, I should have gotten a frosted mini wheat just to like prove my point, but they're so like round and perfect, like in shape, in terms of like there's no crevices to get milk in. It's like bound too tightly. Like I don't know if the CEO of Frosted Mini Wheats is listening, man, I'm telling you, please go back to the old formula.
I mean, we'll see.
I'm sure he is.
I'm sure he is. We'll see the reach of Let's Get Cereal in this marketing strategy, perhaps. All right, so
Big Cereal is listening, low key. I know they have their ear to the streets.
Big Cereal is tuning in, so okay, you guys heard it here first. So I'm gonna add my milk to the equation. We're gonna make it a party.
I have some Fairlife non-lactose or whatever, extra protein.
Excellent. I have my almond milk.
Of course, yes.
All right. Now I know that you are no stranger to this, but I am very excited because I don't think I've ever had store brand frosted shredded wheat. So this is going to be an exciting experience for me here today.
It should be, yes.
All right.
We dig in? Let's do this.
My friend, let's get cereal.
Cheers.
I see what you mean.
Right?
There's a little more sweetness to it, and the sweetness feels more profound in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Texture.
I really love using the term profound to describe cereal.
Whatever
but
works,
you're right.
you know.
But
sometimes
you're right.
It's just what you're feeling. Because it's not like sickeningly sweet, but it feels like there's more of it, which I'm very much enjoying.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that we have this to kind of enjoy while we're chatting today. And of course, a friendly disclaimer: feel free to talk with your mouth full. This is a safe place. Safe space.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, of course. Now, one of the things that I always start Let's Get Cereal with is a little trip down memory lane because I feel like cereal is such a nostalgic thing. So I want to know what young Royce was like as a little kid.
Oh boy. What was I like as a little kid? I was really into like samurais and dinosaurs, and I was like real chubby and like kind of awkward. I don't know. I don't think I really was like very athletic or like I liked watching athletics, but I don't know. I just wasn't I wasn't like a jock or anything growing up. I always had like friends from kind of all walks of life, and I've never been like a person that super like defines himself by like being in one group or whatever. Although now like I'm a wrestler and I hang out with wrestlers and like that kind of it is what it is when you're living the lifestyle and whatnot. But I don't know. I had a really good upbringing. Like I love my parents, and I think they did a really good job of like kind of showing me a balanced way to approach things. So.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think we've discussed this before. Are you an only child as well?
Yeah. Only child syndrome.
Only child
for this.
Don't worry. We're here for it. I understand. So I know that you kind of, talking about being a little bit on the awkward side when you were growing up.
Yes.
But you said that you were really into samurais. And that was something I remember seeing an image on social media. I mean, both of your parents are, you said, really creative, I think, in the past. Didn't your mom make you a samurai costume?
Yeah, so my mom took like a bunch of like paper towel rolls and made like how they have like a plated armor and stuff, and like, took one and made it into a sword. As a kid, I had like a little kimono and like a Rising Sun headband and stuff like that I would like to wear. And I watched a lot of Akira Kurosawa films like growing up, which I think are still like some of my favorite classic movies. I don't know what it was that like attracted me to that, but I have to think there's something of like a similarity between that and like wrestling, of like being like a warrior class and being into that kind of conflict and then conflict resolution, whatever. And I do also enjoy like samurais were very like they had a code and they had like an ethos or whatever that they like were very strict with, and I don't know, there's something admirable about that. While also there's also tons of problematic things from whatever, feudal Japan, they're not gonna be living by like today's standards. So I don't know, that kind of stuff is still obviously really, really interesting to me. And I'm always like on the hunt to like take in some new, if there's like a new cool samurai flick or whatever, I'm into it. I'm there.
Yeah. And kind of the idea of coming out of, the awkward adolescence and really coming into your own. Eventually you did find kind of sports along the way and took on a little bit more athletics into your life. When did that kind of shift happen?
So I definitely in elementary school was like playing some sports, but I didn't take it super seriously. Like I played soccer, like I think, most all kids do at some point. Hockey was kind of my like first sport that I like was into, that I had some skill at and I liked a lot, but I never like pursued it. Like I was never trying to be really on like the traveling teams or any like the big youth leagues that are important if you want to be a successful hockey player. But I was just like fairly decent at it. I had like a good wrist shot and I could play some good offense and whatnot. But I don't think I really like got into athletics until freshman year in high school. I decided to try out for the football team because a bunch of my friends were, and like all of them ended up quitting almost immediately except for me. And I just was like already there and I just kind of liked it. And I was like, I'm going to stick with this. And between that and then after sophomore year, one of my coaches said, hey, you should, I was an offensive lineman, the big guys up front that block people. And one of our coaches said, hey, you should try wrestling, like the amateur with the headgear, the singlet and all that, because it'll make you a better football player. So I tried that out, and then I was like, oh, I actually like kind of like this better. I ended up doing both through college and whatnot, but wrestling, that was like kind of like when wrestling became like, oh wow, I really, really dig this. And like athletics became much more of a part of me and who I am. But even then, I was like a bigger guy. Like I weighed like 285 in college. I was quite a bit. Not. I was a lot bigger, like in the belly area than I am now. And I didn't really like. I don't even know if I really reached my prime as an athlete until like after college. Like maybe like honestly like maybe like recently. It's like I didn't really get comfortable with myself and my body and who I was and like what I could accomplish or achieve with it, I guess, until like a lot more recently, because it just wasn't like a thing that I ever considered or thought I could do.
And I feel like that's something that journey never really ends. Like I feel like we're always as humans just constantly evolving. And I feel like too, throughout your evolution of adding more, physical elements and athletic elements, you never really lost that kind of like, I don't want to say nerdy, but like nerdy in a nice way, nerdy side, which I think is really the combination of pro wrestling. It's nerdiness and it's athleticism. So you found your fit pretty well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. And it's like something that you can like fully nerd out on and like dive into and get into. Like if you're a history buff, like wrestling has a huge history that you can get into and appreciate. If you're, it has a little bit of everything, and there's different styles all over the world that you can really get into. And it's such a good mixture of like simulated, crazy, violent stuff and also amazing storytelling and performative art. And but like both of my parents are artists, like they're painters. And so like it's like one of those things that I come from a real creative family. So I think that like, I don't know, I didn't know what my thing was for a long time, but like I didn't start wrestling until I was 25. But when I found it, I was like, oh, this is my thing. Like by the end of the first time I took a bump, like the end of that practice, I was like, I need to try to find a way to like make this my job because I really like this.
Well done, because here we are chatting about it. I want to go back to coming from a family of artists. In 2020, you actually shared some of your own sketches on social media. Is that kind of creativity something you've always been really kind of cultivating, or do you think that that's something that, once the onset of the pandemic happened, it was kind of an opportunity to tap back into it?
Definitely more of the latter. I was always like a sketcher, drawer as a kid, and didn't necessarily take it the most seriously, but I got I put in enough hours to get like fairly decent. I just never really tried to like pursue anything with it, or like, you know, try, like I would just draw sketches and draw figures that I thought were interesting, and like fantasy creatures or whatever that like, oh, this is like got a minotaur, you know, whatever. But I never was like, oh, I'm gonna like make my own comic, or I'm gonna be a famous artist one day, or I'm gonna like, I don't know, painting wasn't really my thing, which is my dad's an amazing painter, and my mom does these really interesting like paintings with these like inset, like she'll have some kind of like weird like walnut thing in like a triptych with like velvet in the back, and then like she'll have like an actual like landscape or whatever. So it's like, but anyway, my point is that I didn't ever really like pursue things like that where I thought that was going to be necessarily my next thing or my future thing. But I like, there's a part of me that maybe wishes I would. Definitely the pandemic. I think it was more of a like mental health kind of reset, because I couldn't wrestle, which is definitely like my therapy and like my thing that I love doing, and that you know, keeps me sane and whatnot. And so it was just a thing that I was like, okay, what can I like dive into, invest myself into, and then you have something at the end of it. It's like, oh, cool, I have this picture of X, Y, or Z, and like you can share it, and hopefully people like it and whatnot. But it was like definitely like a kind of like a therapeutic, going back to like something that I knew I could use as like a comfort and enjoy.
And I feel like too, with everything, you know, that's been going on over the past 2 and some odd years now, with a lot of uncertainty, I think that there were definitely worse possible means for you to have tapped into mental health wise. So I think you really picked a good one. Now, over the past year, you also shared that you finally learned to cook for yourself.
Yeah.
So, you know, we always enjoy some foodie posts on the timeline. It was dope to see you celebrating some, you know, orange chicken and beef and broccoli. But has there been a particular dish for you that you have been super proud of?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I made some pad kaprao recently, which is like a Thai dish with ground chicken, basil, a couple of veggies, but you don't really need it to, like, I'll use like a little bit of bell pepper chopped up and whatnot, but like technically I don't think you need it. And then there's like a certain sauce to it, and you top it with a fried egg and put it over a bed of rice. I don't know why it became my thing, but I got it at some restaurant maybe a few years ago, and then I never trusted myself to make it, because I tried to make it once and it took forever, and it wasn't really like, it was like okay. But recently, like a couple weeks ago, I actually made it, and I was like, okay, like this is like passable. Like, I don't know, I'm certainly not, it's like not authentic Thai, whatever, but it was like, oh, this is good and like worth the amount of time and effort I put in. And yeah, I think that one, or I also made like a creamy miso ramen that was like pretty good a couple weeks ago. So
okay,
yeah, I don't know. I'm getting a little trickier. I'm branching out. It started out with just like learning how to make like they call them on YouTube like anabolic recipes, just like healthy versions of like make a gordita crunch, but it's actually like made with like lean ground beef and like low fat cheese and whatever. And now it's like branched out to where I can at least like, if I find a recipe, not always, but sometimes I can find a way to like make it more like, okay, I can make this work with my diet or whatever and still really enjoy myself. So that's kind of been fun.
That's awesome. And do you have a particular maybe goal recipe in mind that you want to try taking on in the future?
Oh boy.
No pressure, no pressure.
No pressure. That's a great question. I don't know. I kind of just like freestyle it, where like I'll just run across like maybe a cool recipe on YouTube, and then I'm like, okay, let me see if I can reverse engineer that, or I'll find someone else's version of like a healthy version of something. I'm like, okay, cool, let me recreate that. I don't know, maybe something like a beef Wellington or something that like, not that I eat a ton of beef Wellington, but it's I know that that's like one of those really hard to make things. Like I know that if I was gonna make that, it would like take a lot of effort. It would probably honestly take me like messing it up terribly a bunch of times and wasting a lot of money and time and being really miserable about it. But I'm sure I could figure it out at some point.
I think so. We believe in you. Now,
Thank you.
you had talked about kind of those anabolic recipes and things that were, cooking for yourself was really beneficial for you nutritionally or, whatever.
And money-wise, saving money.
And money-wise, okay. Fair. But when you aren't being super healthy with your diet, what are some of your favorite junk foods to enjoy?
Pizza is always king on the list. Breakfast burritos are definitely up there. Donuts. I really like, there's these candies that I've been getting on cheat day that's like, they're these little like round strawberry things that I think they like put some sour stuff on them and like they pour that tagine seasoning, like fatty meat and like fried or something like that. I'm like real into, and anything that's like super like candy, donutty, doughy, like yeah. I'll eat it all on cheat day though. Like my cheat days are generally over 10,000 calories.
Holy wow. But you know what? That actually kind of makes sense for as much, training and working out as you do, to be able to kind of have that treat. It's like, get it all in, like enjoy all of it on that day. So fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
I have to know, do you have a particular donut flavor that is your go-to?
I do. I am partial to like anything cream filled or custard filled, but I always will get at least like 4 because I want to have like a French curler. I want to have like maybe like a plain like glazed, but like I don't know, like the blue frosting or something kind of spicy. So I usually go to like have a few different things and then maybe like one like real crazy one where they're like, we took a Reese's peanut butter thing and like put a bunch of those on top and filled it with that or whatever. California donut is like the spot out here. Like, but they also have they just have a ton. In LA, they have a ton of just random donut pop-ups everywhere that are all really good. But California donut, to me at least, is king.
Good to know. We're going to put that on our list for the next LA adventure. And aside from culinary endeavors, working out, training, competing as a pro wrestler, which I mean, I'm sure that's already a pretty staggering schedule. What do you enjoy doing when you have some, however fleeting it may be, free time these days?
So I definitely I know this is like one of the in things right now, but I've been like a true crime buff for a long time now. Like, I was the weirdo that was like on Wikipedia in high school or college or whatever, like looking up different like serial killers and whatever. And I'm like definitely into like if it's like a podcast or a documentary or whatever, like. Or, I mean, honestly, me and my girlfriend yesterday just went to, there's at the Ronald Reagan Museum an FBI exhibit. So they have like all kinds of crazy true crime stuff that they like, okay, here's like a note from people that escaped Alcatraz or whatever that they sent to the warden after they escaped. Or, here's a letter from Ted Bundy and blah, blah, blah. And, some of his clothes or whatever. Like it was a pretty extensive exhibit. It was definitely worth admission. It was in Simi Valley, super beautiful. So we got a little bit of nature too and stuff. So that was nice. Other than that, I mean, other than like the training schedule and travel and whatnot, what do I even like? I'm like a wrestling nerd.
Do you have time to even ask yourself that question?
Like, I just like wrestling is like kind of my thing that I buried myself into for a long time. So like a lot of the other stuff is just like, okay, I'm gonna like, let me find like a cool anabolic recipe I can make and then I'll dive into that for today and like kind of make that my adventure or whatever. And then between, working out and, working if it's a wrestling day or whatever, like that tends to take up most of my time. Did I just like reverse engineer, realize that I'm kind of lame? Like,
no,
you find a hobby.
You've realized that you're kind of busy, and maybe you need a vacation or a day off or something like that.
I don't know what that means.
He doesn't even know the meaning of the word. But you did say that you are a pretty big podcast fan. Do you have a particular one, maybe a newer one that you've discovered recently? You kind of just have the same rotation of ones you love?
It's been a minute since I found like a new podcast that I was really like, this is my jam. I kind of have like Crime and Sports and Last Podcast on the Left are like always like kind of my go-tos that I enjoy. I don't know if it counts as like podcasts, but I've found some like interesting. Okay, so like I am very into anything that like histories or details the chronicling of like conflict and then conflict resolution. So that is to say, like I will dive into any kind of book or media or whatever of if it's like feudal Japan, the Three Kingdoms era of China, any kind of warfare from Europe, whatever, but like also like ranging all the way up to like current gang violence is like very interesting to me because at least in my perspective, there's not a ton of difference between like some of these stories that like happen in Chicago currently with like the mythos of like these like yeah okay so they're gangbangers or whatever, but like is that different from like a warrior in the 1600s or whatever, and what they get into conflicts over, and yeah, I mean, obviously there's like huge difference in like okay they have guns now whatever, like or the it's over drugs or whatever it is, but like I don't know what it is about me, but there's something just very interesting about stories that involve some kind of like conflict between two parties and how that all plays out, seeing how it branches out from there. This person had a conflict with this guy, so this guy got back to this guy, which then his brother was incensed, so it came back. It's like, I don't know, just like for whatever reason, stuff like that is always really interesting to me.
That's actually really interesting to kind of see those parallels and how they've evolved over history. But another thing that you mentioned, obviously, is wrestling takes up a lot of your time. It is your passion. It is something that you're always doing. And I feel like sometimes the best wrestlers are fans at heart. Now, being a wrestler, competing on the level that you are at this time in your career, do you feel like you're able to take the time to watch wrestling for enjoyment, or is it more so something for research or educational purposes?
In all honesty, it's hard for me to watch too much wrestling because I'm like so in the game, but I also don't think if I ever stopped being a fan, I would just retire. Like I would find something else, So it's like a balance of. I wouldn't say that I watch a ton of like full matches on a weekly basis, but I'll have like my spurts where I'll like kind of go hard and I'll watch a bunch of stuff and then kind of just chill for a little bit. Honestly, I don't watch a ton of like current indies and stuff like that, other than like enough just to like keep up, because I do think it's important to see what's going on and what people are doing, what fans seem to like and whatever. But I also don't like. To me, I would just as soon watch, something from the Attitude Era or something from the early 2000s Japan, because like that's stuff that I really enjoy, and like I don't know, I think that's kind of obvious if you watch a lot of my wrestling as well, that there's a lot of influences from there. Nothing against like the current product or whatever, because there's like so much like IWTV and Fight have so much that you can like nerd out on and enjoy if you really want to. It's just like, I guess to me it's like maybe also that nostalgia. I also like 90% of the music in my like Spotify playlist is like all stuff from when I was growing up, so I don't know, maybe I'm just like a dinosaur stuck in the past.
You did say you love dinosaurs, and you did say that with wrestling, there is truly something for everyone. So if you want the nostalgia, it's there. If you want newer things, it's there. Whatever kind of, whatever flavor suits your fancy, so to speak.
Yeah.
Now, thinking from, obviously we're talking about a little in-ring competition. Thinking about your in-ring persona and your alliterative moniker of the Fringe Father, you can't not talk about some of the flashy fashion that we have seen from you. So from, the patterned tracksuits, the tassel boots, at one time even sporting a cut sleeve full-length fur coat. How do you feel like style and character evolution can go hand in hand?
That's a good question. That's really deep.
Has one fueled the other, or do you feel like the character changed and then you had to bring the style along with it?
That's good. That's funny. I never really like particularly was thinking about that. I think the tassels just came from thinking that tassels were really, really cool, and like I like Kerry Von Erich. I always thought his tassels were really dope, and it looked cool because he was doing like the discus punches, so they're flying all around. Also, like I don't have like super long hair or anything like that, so it gives me something that flies with me whenever I'm getting thrown or hit or whatever. So I think visually that's important because it's obviously a very visual sport. And I just no one was really doing like a super like tassel heavy thing at the time whenever I got them done. But I mean that's more of just like kind of like a fun fashion style thing versus a lot of like my character development. I think since I left the NWA has been towards a more serious Royce Isaacs, which luckily kind of went hand in hand with working with New Japan because it's, as it's called, the King of Sport. It's like this is a sport. You are athletes. Like this isn't just like, okay, we're doing some fun cosplay and this is like a grappling recital. Like no, this is a sport and treat it as such. And there's something about that I've always like I think dug and respected. Like I think that's, I don't know, it's not for everyone, and I think that's fine if that's not your style or not what you're into, but to me at least that was. So I think between that and getting to do some stuff like Bloodsport where I got to be a little bit more like that, and it seemed to get like a really good respect. People were like, oh yeah, no, this works for you quite well. And I mean, I was a college wrestler and kind of used to that shooter lifestyle and whatnot. So it's like, I think a lot of that stuff has really just kind of naturally evolved. But to go back to the fashion, I'm not sure. I think a lot of the fashion stuff is just like, I like to be flashy still because wrestling is a visual sport, as I said. So I like to make, like I'll design the trunks that I'll wear where I'll find some fabrics that I really like. And I'm like, I put this with this because I like the leopard print. I want something that pops. I don't just want to be the dude in black trunks, which is cool. So I'm not trying to insult like whoever is feeling subtweeted right now. Apologies in advance. I didn't mean to. That's cool. I think that's great. Like minimalist stuff can be really great too. I think it's good to have a lot of variance, and like that one person can be the like minimalist, straightforward, and I can wear tassels and have these like weird patterns with interesting spandex and whatnot. I'm giving you a really long word salad answer for a very simple question. I don't know how my personality evolved from the caveman.
Over time. But I think it is something where, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I think that there's a beauty to that because we have minimalist style, we have flashier styles, and I think that too, it's a cool balance from how, straightforward, how hard hitting a lot of style can be, to have something that's kind of like flashier to kind of accompany that can be a really interesting parallel. But I do want to take it just back to a sort of a different stylistic question, and this is totally random from a deep dive that I did. Okay. There was a certain sweatsuit that I saw you sporting a while back, and it was a black and white split situation. I think it was from a birthday outing.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Can you tell me the significance behind that particular ensemble?
Oh boy, what a deep dive! That's hilarious. I have to give you your props really quickly. How you are so good at like research and stuff like that I think a lot of these people as in other people that are doing either podcasts or commentating, announcing, whatever. Like I always appreciate how much you will do research and dive into stuff and like care about knowing, okay, how can I like understand the situation? If it's like for a match, okay, what's the conflict here? And like, I don't know, there's stuff that like, I'll hear you on commentary and I'm like, I didn't tell her that. She just pulled that out from like a random tweet from 3 weeks ago. Like that stuff goes a really long way.
Thank you.
Now that I've said all that, Yeah, so I was as a kid, what they call a juggalo,
Ah, there
and
it is.
you are a juggalo for life. So I'm still a juggalo. I'll still listen to ICP. I don't care. There's no shame in my game.
There you go.
Um, but there's definitely somewhere. I'm sure my mom has a picture of me like face painted up for Halloween or something. But I I'm not as familiar with a lot of their more recent stuff, but also like I said, I'm nostalgic. I'll still listen to all that back catalog, and I think it's they're quick aside. There's so many asides to this question, but I do think it's insanely admirable how DIY and like counterculture ICP has been their whole career, where like they never really had a lot of like they were on a major label at one point, but they've never really had like that big push to be accepted, and like they've kind of just done things on their own style, and I think that's really cool and something that more people should aspire to. Anywho's, my good friend and one of my trainees, I train wrestlers as well. Jamie Ivy, he has a company called Network, but like stylized, like there's no vowels, like NTWRK. And they have like cool random drops where they'll like work with like a musical artist and make like a cool exclusive product and then drop it. And he got me like a full black and white ICP sweatsuit that I still have. It's in my closet for my birthday, and just showed up, surprised me with it. Hey, here you go. I had to change into it and then go eat Korean barbecue in this giant sweatsuit. It was pretty sweet though. Like, I mean, how do you beat an amazing birthday gift like that? You know?
I mean, I don't know if you do, because that's pretty top tier. Okay,
Yeah.
that's we appreciate this. But yes, just had to do that little deeper dive and really tie it all back around to coming full circle with your love of nostalgia. So, and speaking of, I mean, I guess kind of full circle, coming to the end of this episode, because I am all out of cereal. But my friend, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. It's always an absolute delight. And like you said, it had been way too long. So I'm glad that we got to catch up a little bit. And we got to, say hello to our breakfast buddies at home. So this episode will probably not air for a little bit. But is there anything super exciting that you have coming up?
March, I will be at, there's a few West Coast Pro and prestige shows that they're running together, like a 3-day weekend. So I'll be doing all of those. They should be super sick. I'm very excited. By the time this airs, I'll probably have worked my first show for prestige, but I haven't yet. So I'm excited, always excited to get out to a new promotion. And West Coast Pro is, I mean, they're killing the game on the indies right now. One of the absolute hottest indies. And I've been there for a hot minute too, so it's been really cool to kind of grow alongside them. I should have good old Bloodsport in Tampa, which is always, it doesn't happen enough, but I'm always excited when it does. It's been way too long, so I'm excited to get back in the ring and take someone's head off for sure.
And we are looking forward to it, my friend. You do have something big coming up in April with New Japan, correct?
Yeah, I'm doing Windy City Riot, so I'll be in Chicago and be Team Filthy representing. It's been a hot minute since I've wrestled in Chicago, but I want to say the last time I did, I won the NWA tag titles, so should have something fun in store for sure. And I have a lot of love for. I went to college in Iowa, not far away, so my best friend in college was an Illinois boy, so I'm definitely gonna show out Chicago.
Heck yes. Well, can't wait to see all the more exciting things that are coming your way, my friend. Thank you again for taking the time. And anything for our breakfast buddies at home before I let you go?
Once again, like I said, like the name brand Frosted Mini Wheats are not where it's at. It's very important. Yeah, get you some from Target, get you some from Kroger. I wish that, even though it's cool that Frosted Flakes now has Frosted Flakes with marshmallows, it was so much better when it was the crossover Frosted Flakes plus Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
So if the big CEOs of Big Cereal are still listening, these are our grievances. This is my Martin Luther 99 problems, except for it's only 2 and they're like not really that big. Cause like, it's like still, you have options. But let's see, what else do I have cereal wise? I haven't had Crave cereal in a while, but I remember that was pretty good. So,
Yeah.
keep doing your thing, Crave cereal. That's all. That's all I got. I don't know.
What I love about this is I feel like if people's biggest takeaway from this episode isn't getting to know you, but is maybe changing their mind about store brand frosted shredded wheat, you will be a happy, happy man. And that's wonderful.
Yeah, if you somehow made it through my 5-minute rambling answers, but you just dug out those gems of how to have a more enjoyable cereal experience, hey, thank you.
That's what we're here for. My friend, thank you again so much for joining me. Much continued success coming your way. And to my breakfast buddies at home, continue to do your best to be your best. And we will see you later.
See you later.